We're going to do a captive ring today. I'm starting from, as you can tell, from the square. So what we're going to try. By the time we get done, I'm going to try to have a goblet, and then with 2 captive rings on the stem. Okay. And if you want to, right now it's the time to decide if the piece looked good enough. You could actually put a square base on this thing, and it kind of makes a different look when you do that. This piece is that's not going to happen, but I have done that before. You want to see it?
Now what's the wood?
What's the wood? It's supposed to be hard maple. But I think it's a red maple because it's not quite as hard as sugar maple. So
Keith, everybody might not know why you run that tool over there that way.
pardon?
Everybody may not know why you laid that tool up there.
Like this?
Yes.
You can tell if it's, you got any flat places or not. You hear that little bit bounce right there? There's one little flat place on this shit. Here and here. See, you don't hear it here. Hear the knock? That's what you're doing. What I'm doing. What I'm using now is a roughing out gouge. You just want to use this on spindle work, but it can do a fine job on spindle. You can get it really pretty slick with this tool. It's shaped like this. And the reason you don't, this is a spindle gouge because it's weak right here. If you start using it on a bowl, it can catch and then break and things go bad real quick. Okay, we're going to try to switch it now and put it on a face plate, on a jaw, excuse me, in a chuck, and start making the goblet. Okay, starting to make the goblet. What I'm doing now is just trying to get an outline, somewhat of an outline. You hear that little squeak? That means it's chattering. The wood is shaking, and it's going to be an irregular cut on it. It's going to be if you get up here and look, you can see like a screw pattern on the wood, but it shakes. Shattered. Okay, next thing we'll do is try to hollow it out some.
Gouge are you cutting with, Keith?
This is a bowl gouge,
Okay.
and it's a Thompson. Supposed to stay sharp longer. I'm not sure. And right now, I don't know how deep I'm going to get this, because like I said, I have trouble with it wanting to chatter too much. I've got the pieces a little bit long. And this is a scraper, is all this is. This is a Sorby scraper with a swivel tip end with a small half-round bar in it. One of my favorite tools for going inside.
What speed you would be using on your lathe?
No, I don't. Don't have any. Didn't tell. I don't turn as fast as some people, and Jimmy Clues told me I wasn't turning fast enough. But I turn comfortable for me, and I've seen too many guys that don't know what they're doing, and you're doing what you're doing. But I've seen guys that crank her up way too high. And it just scares me to death. Because I've seen too many pieces of wood fly apart. I'm just trying to get this deep enough now so that this piece will go down in there and I can bring a tailstock up. Okay, I like to get the goblet, the bowl finished, the cut part of it finished, and then put the tailstock back up in here, and that helps support this whole thing. Now we're gonna run it that way. One thing about it is, on this cup part of it, you want to do this cup and hollow it out before you take too much of this mass away here. So this mass helps hold steady everything out here. And what I'm doing, I'm sizing the outside of the rings right now.
Party tool there?
That's a parting tool. Yeah. Small parting tool. Sorby. I like to use that one. It does a nice job cutting. This does a nice. It's the type with a flute in it, and it does a real nice job cutting those edges. Better than this type of a parting tool. Now we want to stop it and look and make sure you don't have any cracks in your rings. Because it doesn't they don't last very long. And that's one reason I like hard maple. This is a hard maple, but it's one of the softer hard maples. It's not a sugar maple. I bought a whole tree and I had to cut up into 2-inch stuff, and I thought it was a sugar maple, but it wasn't. Starting to wanting around to top the rings off now. If you're really good, you do this with a skew, but I'm not, so I do it with a gouge. Now it's time to sand top of the rings. Sand them you're sanding half of the ring is what you're doing. These are the ring tools. I make my own ring tools. They're just old files that the handles can sharpen the handles on. And you want to leave I've got these rings fairly big. They're stouter for one thing, and just depending on what you're making, what you want them to look like.
How deep are you going before you start cutting in?
Pardon?
How deep are you going before you start cutting in on those rings? What will be the diameter of the rings?
Right, this size about right there.
So the depth will be the same as that outside size also? You know what I mean, the inside of it where you cut?
diameter.
The inside diameter of the ring is going to be right there where I cut. Right this size of this shaft right here. Okay. That shaft could be a little smaller, and you can decide where you want your rings. I'm trying to make that ring round. Is what I'm trying to. Is what I'm shooting for.
Okay.
Okay. When I say round, I'm talking about round. It doesn't always turn out that way. Believe me. Okay, they're both loose. Next thing to do is start taking some of this wood away. What I'm going to do now is make this center shaft small enough that I can stop and wrap sandpaper, glue sandpaper to it. And I'm going to stand inside of the ring. Yeah. Give you a little more room. That's all. Gives you a little more room to. The biggest thing is getting it started right.
CA glue?
Yep. This is just accelerator to speed things up a little bit. Yeah, all I'm doing now is gluing a strip of sandpaper. This is cloth back sandpaper, and sometimes I think paper works a little better because it's a little bit easier to bend. Okay, if you look at those rings, right now is the time that you can take a bunch of that off of there. Just pop some of that off of there. Get that excess off down in that ring, off that inside that ring. Just means more you don't have to sand away. Then just hold a ring, turn the lathe on. You move around. That's how you do it. It takes a little bit of time. You can turn that ring sideways and around, and it'll round it up. That's right. And then you want to finish the goblet. I want to try something. I want to turn this loose and see how it does.
Have you ever used those captive ring tools you see advertised in magazines?
Nope. I was too cheap, Dallas. And that's the reason. That's the only reason. Because I was just, I saw Phil Kinsey. We saw him turn captive rings with a skew. Actually use a skew and go in there and get them. But I have not done that. We'll see what happens here. A good straight grain wood is the only thing I've ever used doing a goblet like this. 'Cause you don't want wood that's going to start moving on you very much. You can see this is not really the cut part of it is off center a little bit. And now's really, the bold part of it you already want sanded before now. Now's the time to start sanding on the stem, on that stem out there.
Why did you take the end out before you started doing the stem? Did that put too much pressure on it?
I wondered if it might, and it was already off center a little bit, and as the stem gets smaller, I was worried that pressure and everything would throw that off. That's the reason I did that today. I don't always do that. I don't always do that. So. Then you get your hand in there, and you can hold that. you can hold this stem so it doesn't bounce on you. Also keeps your rings out back out of the way. You don't want to take very deep cuts with a skew. Real small. But if things are working right with a skew, you can't find a much better tool for a slicker surface. Spindle gad. A little bit bigger spindle gad.
About a 3/8 spindle gouge, or?
Yeah, I guess. As you can see, those rings bouncing back and forth really don't bother you much.
Get on my nerves.
Well, but you get used to it.
Yeah, I always take mine off because I'm just afraid to catch one and
Yeah.
blow it apart. Use that blue painter's tape for that big ring.
Just take a skew and clean it up some.
I don't have very good luck with Steve. I got some bad experiences.
Well, just practice.
I hate those things.
No, that's in the bevel. Like right here,
Yeah.
I'm riding the bevel right there. Okay? See what kind of job you can do? All I'm doing now, I'm down here, I'm just putting a little decoration on the bottom of this goblet. Sometimes I put balls on, sometimes I go straight into the stem, or into the base. Now we'll cut it off, try to anyway. Start parting this, of course you can go straight in with one skew cut or one parting tool cut, but I like to put a relief in there, make it about 3 times as wide as your tool, parting tool. Lots of room.
Are you coving it in? Part?
Pardon?
Are you coving it in as you part, undercutting it?
Yeah, I'm undercutting it some. I think they set a little better.
Okay.
and the top is not very good.